Hello, fellow Paragoners. I have a Sevarog jungle game for you here. He is the king of the jungle, step aside Rampage, and I'll show you in this game why. Now, this game went quite well as I'm a bit more acclimated to the items now, playing the previous stress test and just looking over the items as well. You guys will see a pretty interesting combination of items that I felt really worked well this game. I'm excited to show you. It's a typical Severog start. I opted to go for the mana potion, which was a bit of a mistake. At least from what I remember, it was a mistake. But I was worried that I was going to run out of steam siphoning everything, because that's a pretty big source of damage for Severog in the early jungle, and you have to not only siphon often, but it is a bit difficult to get the last hits off of the jungle camps, because Severog works the same way that he does in Paragon, where you got a last hit with your Q, which is your soul siphon, to stack souls. One thing to note, everybody, with the jungle camps, meaning the red and blue and raptors, when you have the jungle item, you have an execute threshold that when you auto attack it below a certain percentage of HP, you will automatically kill the jungle minion. So as you'll see here, he's gonna go down in a little bit before I actually finish his health bar. And please note, I got 3 stacks from that. So for the big jungle minions, you must, you don't have to last hit them with Soul Siphon. That's huge. Make sure you remember that. So here we got 2, I believe. Yep. 2 soul stacks. This camp, as a Severog player, is the most important jungle camp in terms of the little camps. Always clear those as fast as possible, and whenever they come up, clear them, because it's 5 stacks, whereas this camp is only 2. And you should also try to steal the enemy jungler's stacks. Funnily enough, a little bit later in the game, I forget that you just executing the red and blue minion gives you the stacks, and you'll see later. I spend a considerable amount of time just trying to siphon him. Here we wait to get that last stack. It's imperative that you, as a Severog jungle, you must capture every single stack. Hold on, we go here to gank the Bellica. And I unfortunately missed the subjugate. It was a great dodge by the Bellica player, which sucks, because that would have probably been a guaranteed kill. I should have used the subjugate right when the Howie hit the mine. But now the Bellica felt comfortable enough. We were able to synergize a bit better there, and we got the kill. One thing to know, everybody, wards, don't downplay wards. It's going to be one of those things that people don't prioritize, since they're so new to the game, and everyone else is as well. We as a community are going to initially play just foregoing wards, but wards are honestly incredible, and they will save your life. If you can afford it, when you're walking out of base, you should always just buy a ward. I think it's probably going to be a standard practice at some point, just because it's worth it. It's worth it. I wish they lasted longer, but it's still worth it. So here we're working on this camp. And see, this is where I wish you can see my mana. I have full mana, but not I need the HP, so I wish I had the health potion there, because it would have been quite nice. And then I think this is where I forget the camp that you get the souls off the execute, and I have to go back as a result. But yeah, you know, Severog in the solo lane I think he might be stronger in the solo lane, because the amount of stacks that you can get, you can just get it at a far higher rate, and it's really difficult to farm stacks in the jungle as Sevarog.
Enemy tower under.
See, I waste way too much time here. You know, and I remembered. See, I just last hit it because that's the moment that I had that eureka moment, that epiphany. That, oh yeah, you automatically get the stacks. And this camp is also really good for Severog too. That camp and the 5 minion camp on the right side. If you can only clear 2 camps at a time, you would want to prioritize those because they give the most stacks. So here we're backing for our first item purchase, and we're going to build into Leviathan. It gives 500 health and 3 health regen, and killing minions grants even more health. And there's a reason why I chose this item. Aside from the sustain, you know, health, like as a tank, you want health. Because in this game, you need it. Trust me. If you think you can just, you know, get by not building any defensive items as a kind of bruiser or tank, good luck. It's difficult. So here we have the red buff. We're a little bit behind in levels. We haven't been farming that well, honestly. This was, I think, my first or second game of the creator capture event. But all in all, we're prioritizing this camp again. Oh, I think it's always worth it to wait for that, except my red buff killed it that time. Because Severog without stacks is not very intimidating. It is critical that you get the stacks as fast as possible. Your entire game depends on it. Especially if you could get them the soul siphon on heroes, that'd be ideal. I think I get a couple in this game, maybe like 2, but it's really hard in this game. Oh, we have the enemy jungler in front of us and the mid laner as well. They both retreat. At this point in the game, they probably should have just attacked me, because that's 2 stuns and a whole bunch of damage that I would have eaten up. And I'm not, I mean, I'm a little bit takier now that I got items, but it was a 2v1. Okay, got some good damage on the rampage there. You know what I didn't notice? What's a really cool detail? When you see the icons show up of enemies that are around you without vision of them, you know, like when they show up behind you and you see their portrait, you can see their health bar around their portrait, and it's an orange bar. And depending on how much health that they have, you'll see if they have full health, it's a circle bar all around their portrait. And say if it's 50%, it's only halfway around their portrait. That's a pretty cool detail I didn't know. Kudos to Omida for their innovation. So the rampage was not expecting my solo lane or in the form of Feng Mao to rotate over, and I just opt to steal this camp because as a Severog, that's the camp you want to steal. You don't want this camp. I was only contending it because he was there. So we're rotating over now to the side of the jungle we want to, hoping for some kind of gank, but the Bellica disappeared. And I just want the river camp because I didn't. Okay, I should have soul siphoned there, because you just hit it at this stage in the game with Severog. You hit it once and then you soul siphon, because that's also a soul stack. So I wanted to gank the Feng Mao here, which is not a good decision. Feng Mao is one of the most elusive characters in the game. Not only that, he has his shield, and there's also the blink. And so knock him, unfortunately, that with that subjugate to all the Sev players out there, you gotta make sure you hit it early, because there is a considerable time when the animation begins and when the root actually takes hold. So it's going to take a little bit of time to get used to, but keep that in mind. Like, you'd rather pull the trigger on the subjugate sooner rather than later. So all in all, not a terrible game, right? We don't have any kills, but we have 2 assists. The enemy jungler, I know, at least has 1 death. Which, you know, it's not the best sense of how the game is going, but if you're ahead of the enemy jungler, that's good. One focus of mine this game was to gank the mid lane, the opponent Bellica, because if you look at their team composition, the only real magic damage that they have is Bellica and Richter. And Rampage's rock, its base damage is magical, even though it scales off of physical damage. But that's really the only magical damage. So I really focused the Bellica because I didn't want her to do well. I didn't want her to farm. I just wanted I wanted her to be as far behind as possible. And here we just knock her into the tower because that's always fun. That's like the most satisfying kill. Wait until you have that as Sevarog. Oh, feels good. And then here, we actually body block and save the Howie. And you guys, everybody out there, you be careful. Minions pin you. Minions stop you. They can be like a wall. Straight up like a wall, especially when you're in the lanes and you're trying to run away. They can stop you in your tracks and you will be stopped, and when that happens, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. And it's not as easy as just jumping over them. No, you kind of have to maneuver around them, so do keep that in mind. You will end up dying, and everyone's gonna have to learn this lesson the hard way, but that's just how it is. And that's exactly what happened to that Rampage. That Rampage was in such a great position to kill the Howie, but with the minions, he auto-attacked the Howie, which caused minion aggro to collapse in on him. And you know, Sev being the big dude that he is, I was able to kind of close the door on any movement. If he didn't have, the only way he probably could have gotten out of there is if he leaped. So here we gank. I got silenced, and then we knock both these boys back, and that's a clean double kill for the squad. And that's why Severog is one of the best characters in the game, in my opinion. There are a few that really shine. There's no chance that the Rampage can kill me. I mean, in theory, he shouldn't, because there's 3 of us here, and I also have my blink. So now once his regen is down, we just gank, and then that's that. Rampage is really strong too, don't get me wrong, but it's a very delicate balance. You have, as you play more and more, you'll learn when you can push the limits to your character. That's crucial, because for many characters, not just junglers, you're gonna like crush the enemy on one engagement and then get stomped the next, just because, you know, you kind of misjudge the flow of the game. So we opted for near war boots. That seems to be the most powerful option and the most I hate to say this, but competitive option. It's a very strong legendary item. And to be honest, I remember how I told you guys I was focusing on the mid laner, because the only real energy damage is from Richter and the mid laner. So the reason why I did that is because I just wanted to build a physical tank. And you'll see the item choices and how that progresses into the game. But so far, now we have 3 kills, 4 assists. So far, pretty good. Pretty good game. But in this game, one thing that you have to, you always have to keep yourself in check. Don't get comfortable. You're never doing that great. Get over yourself. Because it can turn around in the blink of an eye. So I don't pay attention to that when I'm playing. All right, so I see the Bellica. It's a go. There's no reason not to. The Bellica's not aware, and he throwing down the stun. It's basically an ideal kind of situation. We knock him back that way. So the Bellica does pretty good damage to us, as you can see, but with just how we've been focusing the Bellica at the beginning, we're able to withstand it. And that's how it's done. That's how it's done. Now their main source of energy damage is struggling, because Richter's just a support, so who really cares about the energy damage he does? It's like him sneezing on you, and you don't even need a tissue. You just wipe it off with your hand. We're getting more stacks. And I believe we also stacked the Bellica there. So at this point in the game, this isn't a particularly good case of soul stacking, but you can see we have 75 stacks at about 16 and a half minutes. So it's tough. It's tough. You're going to have your work cut out for you. I love Severog's dash. It feels so good. It feels a lot better than it did in the previous stress test. Like the previous stress test, it felt like a teleport. Not really, but it was just so fast. It was just kind of like, wow, he's moving. And in this one, it's way more fluid. I will wait till you guys get your hands on Sevarog. Just you wait. Severog players unite. So we're clearing the big boy camps, because those 3 stacks is always nice. Some of the strong, in my opinion, some of the strongest characters in the game, Howie and Sev are definitely on my list right now. Howie is insane. Howie might be like the best mage. I suspect the Fae might be too, but the Fae is the best mage in a different kind of way. Because I have a Fae game that I want to show you guys. See, we're just know we're focusing on the mid laner again. Like the mid laner hates us right now because I don't blame the opponent. If I was the Bellica, I would hate me too, because I would just feel like WTF. This Severog has just been in my lane all game, and I really have been. But it's strategic. It's strategic. Because now I can get away with not building energy armor even more. But you'll see at the end of the game, the Bellica still did well. The Bellica ended up being like 10-4, something like that. So imagine if I didn't focus. Now we have World Breaker. We just finished this item, which gives us magical power and health, and a passive of Archmage, which gives us bonus magical penetration per 100 bonus per 100 health. So we get 1% magic penetration per 100 bonus health. I'm assuming that's the bonus health that's added onto your base health. But still, that's with what we are building, with our first item being the Leviathan, we're going all health. Like, we are leaning into health. And the secondary passive of World Breaker, basically, when you do energy damage to an enemy, they take more energy damage and it stacks. So this build, I really like it. For me, it's like the best Severog build I've had so far. Obviously, I haven't been able to experiment as much as I would like to, but I highly recommend it for a new Severog player to try out. I say for sure, this is a good path. You might have to adjust, because if you have a lot more energy damage, you can't cut corners as much as I did. That's something that you have to take note of. enemy composition must always be taken into consideration, especially as a jungler. Now, also, I neglected to mention it, but near war boots, make sure you use the active in fights. It has an active component, and if you're not using that, you're gimping yourself. So do make note of that. And we're back to farming. Now, the next item we're building, I believe it gives health, physical armor, and it's quite interesting in that it gives, I think it also gives health regen too, but it gives, when we reach a certain percentage of HP, I think it's 25%, we release an AoE stun. Can you imagine that? As a Severog initiator, you're in there, everyone's trying to burn you down ASAP, and you get low HP, and you stun everybody, and your team comes in and you dash out. Can you imagine it? Well, I hope you can, because you're going to see it a few times this game. And here we are, just pissing the Belka off. And the Belka almost escapes. But I'm like, oh, and he knocks him away. But I'm like, nope, I can't let this Belka escape simply because the Belka was the key for their success. Now we got the stacks off that. Luckily, the Richter went for him and not for me, because if he got me, I would have had to blink. I would have been in some trouble. But yeah, the Belka is really the key to their success, because she can just, one knockup will take out a key member of our team. The Howie, the Muriel, the Drongo. That's all that's needed with the Belka. Like a stun knockup into bomb, into ult, and it's instantly a 4v5 and in their favor. Now, one thing I wanted to say, I mentioned that I feel like Howie might be the strongest mage, and it's because of the Howie's utility and his versatility. He has a slow, he has a knockup displacement, which knockups are, they're basically stuns. Because when you're being displaced like that, you can't do anything. And not only that, he just does so much damage. I mean, if you, provided that you hit his missiles.
Allied towers destroyed.
So now we get more health and more health. Our mana penetration is taken care of by that one item and just stacking health. And by the way, guys, you'll also, I have a Howie game for you where I showcase why he's just so good. I mean, you Howie, he can save teammates like no other. Oftentimes, your teammates are getting chased down by some melee character, and you just whoop. You tell them, no, hold it right there, buddy. I'm gonna need to see some ID. And I can't wait to show you guys the Howie game. This is gonna be the first video of a few that I released today and this weekend. So I hope you guys enjoy this content. If you're enjoying it, if you know, stay tuned for this weekend. I'm going to be streaming the stress test quite a bit, and then I'm going to release more videos after that. If you like Predecessor and you're interested in Predecessor content, feel free to consider subscribing or not. It's up to you. Here we want to last hit the Fangtooth with our melee. You saw it had 990 HP, but because we have the jungle item, we last hit it with the melee and it executed it. So junglers, make note of that. I don't think it works the same way with Orb Prime, but with raptors, that's how it works. Oh man, look at that. Look at that. That we got down so low there. It's the near war boots. You see how it's on cooldown? A good use of near war boots is it turns the tide. So I'm telling you, using that active will be the difference between surviving or failing in the fight. But back to the talk about raptors. Junglers, you're going to be contending with the other jungler at times. When both of you are in the pit and the raptor is low, it's going to be who gets the auto attack at the right moment. Because it's going to happen where, for example, you auto attack and it was too early, but now you knocked his HP below the threshold of execution, and the enemy jungler auto attacks and kills it. And that's going to be how it's decided. So we finish our Stonewall, which gives us flat physical damage reduction, which is insane, and the stun passive that I mentioned earlier. So, yeah. Now that I'm super tanky, I kind of go with this item that's like magic power / armor oriented. Because I misjudged this game because I'm at this point in the game I thought in my mind, oh, the Belka's out. There's no way that she's going to be that effective, but nothing could be further from the truth. So obviously we want the carry. The carry is, I mean, I'm not fearful of the carry, but my team is. And now, boom, did you see that? Stonewall activated and we stunned those two. And now the team is, I mean, that fight wasn't that great for us, but I probably should have tanked more. I had more HP. I was too passive near the end of that fight. Oh, the low Fang Mao. It's taunting me. Oof. See, the Belka stun. The Belka stun is, it's big. Damn. The Howie got the Fang Mao, but died, which sucks. So here we have some reinforcements, but I'm so low, I have to back. And they want to go in on the Sparrow, but unfortunately the Fang Mao dipped out. So we got Abyssal Bracers.
An enemy has been slain. An ally has been slain.
And this game is back and forth. You know, regardless of my score, it's irrelevant because the team, like, that's one thing that I noticed about playing this game. You could be doing quite well, but see, I'm big here, and I eat like a whole bunch of abilities. I shouldn't have ulted there. That was a waste of an ult. But another stun. Yeah, I ate their abilities for like a good half hour. But see, that's okay. So this, I see the lazy back, and I'm like, boy, lazy backing right in front of me? Are you disrespecting me like that? Nah, now I gotta teach you. And luckily my team came, but they overstayed their welcome, and that's exactly what I started off this tangent with. It's the team. The predecessor really surprised me with how important it is to have good team play, because you're gonna face so many situations where you just can't like break through. You can't break through until one team like secures a pick or just gets like a great engagement, and it's really awesome in that way. Nice. So I already see the Sparrow bloodthirsty. And for some reason she chooses to go after me here. I don't know why. That was like the the wrong decision. I guess she just saw my low HP and it was like tunnel vision. And that happens too. Scoring kills in this game is a lot of fun. It's really good. So we're on our way to getting Time Warp, which is quite nice. I don't know if I would choose this item again. Time Warp has this kind of passive, I think, where every time you use an ability, it lowers the cooldown of all your other abilities, which obviously for Severog, spamming Qs is nice. And it does allow you to just be like Q, Q, Q. So we got our big boy shoulders. So the Richter, I was surprised at the amount of wards we had in this game, to be honest. Them using wards, our wards. And here I try to clear this ward. And I get it. I probably shouldn't have prioritized that, but if a ward there is the difference between them seeing us rotate to Orb Prime or not, and that can just mean a free Orb Prime. And I wanted to take Orb Prime here, but what we should have is, I think Fangtooth is up, right? Yeah, we should have taken Fangtooth here. This is a pivotal moment in the game where we almost end up losing the game. And I made the mistake. This was a bad call by me, because the carry is taking Fangtooth alone, and then the enemy team comes in, kills the carry, and just to everybody seeing this video, when you're taking Orb Prime, do not take it without the carry. Do not. You need the carry, because this is what happens when you don't. And we got lucky. All things considered, we got lucky. So look how close this is. Enemy team rolling up. And poof, I'm dead. And Feng Mao's dead. And Muriel's dead. Luckily, we're able to preserve one person with the Orb Prime buff. But again, without a carry, don't do it. Do not do it. Maybe if you have somebody that is can uniquely fulfill a certain staying power, like Chimera. I think he's able to just like heal himself back up while fighting Orb Prime. At least mini Orb Prime, I know for sure. But oh yeah, just another tip to Chimera players. That was big Orb Prime. I'm talking about mini Orb Prime. You can solo mini Orb Prime pretty early, so make sure you test that, because it's huge. It's like, think about it. You're a jungler, you solo mini Orb Prime, and you're basically like at full HP, and then you gank with the Orb Prime buff. Oh, and the Sparrow. Oh boy, you gotta just run the other way. And good blink, but I mean, that's actually a waste of a blink, actually. Yeah, there's no point in blinking there. He was dead to rights. So that's big. That's a big pick. Anytime you get their carry at this stage in the game, it's big. So all things considered, we completely wiped after the OP. Well, not completely. 80%. We had an 80% wipe after the Orb Prime. And we had them knocking on 2 of our inhibitors, but we managed to secure both of them. And that's the thing. Maybe if they prioritized one, they could have scored one. Because, you're going to see once this game has a ranked mode and higher level play and everybody's coordinated, teams are not going to allow those situations to slip out of their hands. The whole team is just going to go to one inhibitor, and then once the minions run in, they're just going to focus on the inhibitor and burn it down. Because I mean, losing the inhibitor is massive. like Sev's shoulders. And I knock him towards his base like a dummy. I didn't get the proper positioning there, and I paid for it. Right there, I still have my dash on cooldown. It would have served me perfectly to just dash and knock him back. Now he's alive as a result, so. A rather unfortunate play by me, but hindsight is 20/20. So with our last item, we're building like a energy damage / energy damage leech item. So since they kind of repelled our push, I just wanted to steal this blue buff. Blue buff is pretty good, especially at this stage in the game, because you could see my HP, and you could see, well, the one of the enemies had low HP too. So that added mana regen is really, really good. Plus you deny them XP and gold, which is always good. And always remember, it's 35 minutes into the game, but we are still trying to get stacks. As a Sevarog, you're never stopping stacks. NSS, never stop stacking. Never stop stacking. Never stop stacking. I don't care if it's a 5v1 and you got this one guy low HP, you get that stack, or you go for it. Now Fangtooth is about to be up in 13 seconds. They had a considerable Fangtooth advantage, which is big. But I saw that this camp was respawning. Remember how I told you this camp is important? Keep going, keep stacking. Never stop stacking, boys and girls. Never stop stacking, chicos y chicas. Siempre, always. So here we are. I just do the last hit for the execution. Now we match. See, that Fangtooth is big because that 8% flat movement speed makes a difference, and that brought us on even footing with the opponents because they had that for a considerable portion of the game. And the second Fangtooth, I don't know if it's the most important. I think it's really big. Because it can be the difference. You know, a lot of this game. Oh, I see the Miro coming in and I want to knock him up here, and I failed horribly. I didn't get there quick enough. I should have blinked in, honestly. So, unfortunately, I neglected to activate my near war boots, which I should have done. Sorry, I'm just I'm pissed at myself because I had my dash and I didn't dash. I was kicking myself when that happened because I would have survived if I dashed. So yeah, I didn't activate the near war boots in that fight. I missed out on a whole bunch of healing that I probably would have survived that bomb if I did, but anyway. So as you can see, it seemed like we were doing really well, but no. Maybe this whole time we were just climbing from behind. Who knows? It's relatively even, and look at our left inhibitor. Look how close it went down. I don't know if there's backdooring in this game, but it could possibly be the case. Like, if somebody really wanted to kill that inhib, they can maybe just dive that tower and hit it 2 times. So they're all missing. I'm guessing that they're on Orb Prime, which is good because they're making the same mistake we did, where their carry is down. And as you can see, Orb Prime killed their jungler. And this is why if you take one hint and tip from this match, do not do big Orb Prime without your carry.
Heroic.
It is, I can't stress how important that is. So we're chasing the Fang Mao. Oh gosh, dude, that's Howie's displacement mine. Did you see that? It did like 20%. Oh kurde, hit a damn subjugate, J-Pie. And I'm like, nah, you're not getting away, son. But yeah, you can't. We got those kills. And so that whole sequence was possible because they took Orb Prime without their Sparrow. And that's it. You take Orb Prime without your carry, and you have one person, like a mage, come in, and that could lose you the game. So I see this inhibitor, and I'm like, oh, we need to take this down now. Now I'm damn. See, I feel like this was a mistake that we did something that they did earlier too. We split our efforts to 2 inhibs, but well, maybe I should have stayed to tank that inhibitor and sacrifice myself so we could kill it. And that might have been the big boy play there. Well. So now I can purchase the final item, which is Tainted Scepter, because I noticed that the Sparrow has healing. So this item, our magic damage reduces their healing. And I should have gone with the Stamina Tonic, but I choose the Intellect Tonic because I thought I'm going to burn through my mana quickly. And the added, I think its magic damage is nice too, but the Life Tonic is the way to go here. At 100%, no question. Because the blue buff would have helped with mana. Plus, our priority is initiating and tanking. So honestly, this game, this is probably the highest level game I was able to participate in the creator event. And I mean, like, you could just see the mini map. We got 3 wards there. They warded 2. Their ward is in a place, oddly enough, where they can't see our ward and we can't see theirs. So we level the Fangtooth scores. Oh, I completely missed how we missed our right inhib due to like we were out and about on the map and it was like a minion wave that pushed that took our right inhib, which is huge. You know, it's like it's a mistake that can lose you the game. All right, they score a kill on our Fang. It's partly my fault because with the Fang, I should have initiated, and so this fight went really poorly for us. Really poorly. They got the Fang, they got me. Drongo's about to go down. Great missile by Howie. Great missile. That missile right there might have saved the inhib. Yeah, and I'm telling you guys, Howie is the best mage, in my opinion. He's the best mage. He is insanely good. And you got to play him. You got to play him. He's so good. If he didn't land that missile, they would have had only one low person, 2 moderately low people, and a high health person. But yeah, great missile there by Howie. So at this stage in the game, I'm contemplating, should I have the items that I have? And I do think that if I had to swap out an item here, it would be Time Warp, because yes, the ability haste that it provides is quite good. But I just have this sense that there's an item that I could get that's better. Oh, by the way, guys, there are some new items. I'm gonna make a little video just explaining the new ones, because I already made one on all the items, but there's a handful of new items, so stay tuned for that. Now, let's see. We are 45 minutes into the game, contesting Ore Prime, and this is like we have our right lane being battered in by super minions. This is do or die at this moment. The next, like whatever transpires next is going to decide the game. Oh no, I had tea and I let it go cold. Oh well. I love Drongo by the way, Drongo as a carry is so much fun. His boomerang and his silence makes or breaks fights. It's so good. Like they can be rolling up on you to gank you and you just silence them and you just stop the gank flat. So one thing that I wasn't aware of, inhibitors respawn. I didn't realize that, but they do respawn. So our Fang Mao is cleaning up the right lane while we're trying to just slow their advance on the left lane. I was worried about the Richter pull because a Richter pull there could be game winning. Could be game winning. Now here something interesting happens. He goes to pull and they split here. You see 2 people in the left lane, 3 people in the jungle, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm sorry. Oh F yeah. And I want to keep them from helping each other. So I see we have 2 people in the jungle and I kind of want to be that divider. And now the sparrow is wailing on me. Ouch. But now they're all together. See, I think that was a situation where if this was like, if we were more coordinated, it would have been like we would have capitalized on that. So here's the Richter. Never stop stacking. Never stop stacking. And now the Richter goes down, the Sparrow is low, and they blink, so I'm like, you know what? I don't mind if I blink myself. Never stop stacking. And boom, big fight there. The Bellica survives. You see that? Survived. And gets away. Brutal. Brutal. Oh, never mind. But yeah, did that Fang Mao just ult the ward? He fat fingered that R button. Oh, damn. Yeah, Drongo is... If you're a Rampage going up against a Drongo, you gotta focus on Drongo. Because Drongo, he struggles. Like, Drongo does need some peel. And Drongo is actually even worse against Grux because in my Drongo game, I tried to ult. And you know how Drongo's ult not only knocks the enemy back, but sends Drongo backwards? If the Grux times it, he can pull you, so basically nothing happens. So their right inhib is under siege. I don't think the Rampage is privy to that.
An enemy inhibitor is under siege. Enemy inhibitor deactivated.
And the same thing that happened to us happened to them. So we were both weak after the fight, and then boom, they lost an inhib just to a pushed enemy wave. And that's one thing that everybody has to be conscious of as well. You have to be really aware of the minions on the map, because even if nobody pushes the lane, it could happen that one side gets pushed large enough to where yeah, you're gonna lose an inhibitor. So we're about to cross the 5k health threshold. Oh yeah. Never stop stacking, boys. Never stop stacking. And girls. So, yep, they got the 4th Fang Tooth, which is considerable. It's like... especially at this late in the game, 50 minutes into the game, getting an extra 12% for all those stats. It's massive. The stamina tonic is what I should have gotten beforehand. And again, we're just... you know, you gotta... the importance of stacking can't be stressed enough, because especially... since Sev is an initiator / tank, you're gonna have instances where you escape with like 50 HP. Many times. And it's the reason why you survive those engagements is because you stacked. Oh, we got the Bellica here. This is probably the most pivotal, crucial point in the game here, whether or not we can get this kill. We have Muriel coming in, and we got the Bellica. Right now, boom, our Stonewall procs the stun. We're able to escape because they were all stunned. And we not only did we get the Belka, we got the Fang now. Now Rampage is going in, trying to get the Muriel. Boom, never stop stacking. We get this, a 4-0 conversion. Because Bellica was not up. So think about that. I camped Bellica's lane the entire game. And think about how impactful Bellica was. Still. And we get both inhibs, and our right lane, they didn't manage the right lane, so the super minion lane push ended up securing the game for us there. A phenomenal game all around. It was a lot of fun, and it was close. Regardless of what the score says, you know, like 41 kills to 30 deaths, whatever, 31 deaths. Phenomenal game all around. I hope you guys enjoyed. I have plenty more content for you on the way this weekend. Let's all enjoy the predecessor stress test that's upcoming and fight our best fight. Thanks for watching, everybody.